Here's how to have bulletproof objection handling and closing skills. So, if you take a look at our materials here from the Buy-in Academy, in this particular classroom, I teach you that before we begin, we need to first understand the pains and motivations of the prospect. You need to qualify them before you contact them. You need to give a survey to know their challenges and seriousness before meeting them. You need to have warm conversations prior to knowing what their real needs are. Nurture a bigger pool of warm leads, build a personal brand, post content online, build an online search profile so that it makes it easy to find. These are all the things you can do before objections come in. Now, why do you deal with objections? Very simple. Because if you don't deal with objections, then it's harder for you to close the deal. Now, the principles of closing sales is number one, you don't take what people say at face value. Always dig deeper to find out what the real objection is about. Number two, a clear yes or no is better than a maybe. We don't want a maybe. We want yes, I want to proceed, or no, I don't want to proceed, or not now. Okay. Number three, not every prospect knows exactly what they want. So give them options so you help them arrive at clarity. So the process of getting towards clarity is what sales is about. The process of going towards conviction is what sales is about. So number four, you are their confidant, you are their partner on the same side of the table making a decision together. So see yourself as being on the same side, not on opposing sides of the table. Number five, objections are not rejection. So they are signals to help you get clarity, certainty, and commitment. Right. Number six, you focus on their transformation and desired outcome. The common mistake people tend to make is that you focus a lot on what you want to sell, what you want to say, but you don't ask about what they want, and you don't ask about what does a dream look like. So if you can get them to start imagining about what their dream looks like, then objections become easier to deal with, or sometimes they don't even come up. Number seven, use metaphors and analogies. Not many salespeople have this skill of using a metaphor to explain what they're trying to say. So if you can do it, like for example, oh, this is like a dance. Sometimes you trip, but it doesn't mean that you stop dancing. You continue going on. So buying a plan with me, even though you had a previous bad experience with another person, it doesn't mean that the plans are bad. It just means that you just need to find the right step and have a right trusted partner to tango along with you. Something like that. The next one is learn to how to ask for the sale before closing. So it's the skill of asking someone for the sale is the skill of asking really powerful questions. Number nine, the process of closing begins once someone says no, and it involves explaining away concerns and handling objections. So, a lot of times, once someone says no, or once you feel a little bit of objection, that's where sales truly begins, because it's about addressing concerns, and that's how we can know that we are towards the process of closing the actual deal. Okay. Number 10, the amount of rapport you build gives you the ability to ask them difficult truths. Now, this is you, I'm sure you guys have faced this before, right? How is it that you can get someone to say something that they might otherwise be uncomfortable with by telling them truths? No, people don't really like to hear truths, but you as the professional, you have to tell them some truths, obviously with tact and with good comportment, and you don't want to be brash or rude. So what you want to do is you want to be able to build rapport first. So a way to do it is mastering small talk, mastering the ability to connect with them, asking about them, their family, asking about their day, and then you move on into the serious talk. Small talk is really important. It's not really that small. Number 11, the power of sales comes from the one asking the question. So even if there is an objection, for example, oh, what kind of certifications you guys have? You could say, oh, we have so many certifications. Look at the certifications on our wall. Or you could say something like asking a question instead. You should be, oh, what kind of certifications are you looking for? So you ask a question about the objection that they have. So this way, it allows you to be like smoke, so to speak, right? So the universal framework for objection handling that we like to use is the 3A framework. The first A is acknowledge. The second is to associate. When we say associate, it means associate the objection with something that an ideal client already says. Means you associate whatever that they said with someone who already bought something from you. So because of the association, it's like, oh, okay, sure. I know that you felt that this might not be a good time. A lot of my clients who bought from me initially said that it's not a good time, but eventually they bought it anyway, and here's why. So that's how you deal with it, right? And then you ask them questions. So does this change your perspective on towards buying this right now, right? So you ask questions. So there are many ways to close deals. So I'll give a universal framework for this. So the universal framework is the scale close, or on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at with moving forward with this? What does it take for you to go to a 10? So you ask the question that frames the answer in a way that benefits the sale, right? Then, of course, there's a framework in order for us to know if it's a qualified lead. And many times, whenever we do either B2B or B2C, sometimes we're not too sure whether the person that I'm talking to is the right person. This is especially in particular for B2B. So there's a framework called BANT, BANT. B stands for budget. Do you have the budget? A, authority. Are they the decision maker? N is need, and T is timing. Now, the authority part, especially, some of my clients go through multiple rounds of approvals only to find out that that person or those people that they met are not the decision makers, or there are other decision makers that they've not met yet. So then they have to repeat the sales cycle, or they end up being disappointed at the end because the deal didn't go through. The need, do they actually have a need that needs to be met? Do they have a problem that needs to be solved? Right? Sometimes you're trying to solve a problem that's not even there. And then T is timing. Is this the right timing for them? So timing is super important. So something that I find is really crucial whenever doing sales is having this thing called a childlike curiosity. Right? So it's important to maintain this childlike curiosity in sales by asking them questions to understand their perspective. So the goal is really to educate the prospect and to help them make an informed decision. And you can't truly do that if you don't come from like this sense of curiosity, like wondering what made them say what they say, wondering what are the challenges that they're facing, why is it that they're facing those challenges, why do they think they're facing those challenges. So really be very curious. It comes from that place of childlike curiosity. So whenever we're understanding obstacles, and we need to stack the closes, and this is a very powerful tool to become more persuasive and get buy-in, right? So it's where you stack multiple closes to push the prospect over the edge and finally make a decision. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily towards a sale. If you get the sale, that's great, but it's really for them to make a decision. They need to decide. And if you've come at the decision, then you're good, right? So is it time? Is it money? Is it decision maker? What is the obstacle? If it's time, then you need to tell them, hey, then maybe it should be a priority for you right now if this is not the right time for you. If it's money, hey, maybe it's about them understanding the value or something like that, right? If it's a decision maker, hey, maybe you need some support, or are you asking for permission? Obviously, it depends on certain contexts, which cultures and communities you're at. So you need to be very discerning. So the exact script you need to edit based on how you understand your client and the culture, right? And whether they can accept a certain statement that you're about to make, right? So if it's the details, tell them, if you change the variables, the you change the outcome as well, right? So some of them want to nitpick on certain details that you have about the deal. So you tell them, hey, you're going to change certain parts of it, then the outcome might change. For example, you're trying to sell them a package for 6 months and they only want 3 months. You say, okay, if you want 3 months, then the outcome will not be as per what I stated for the 6 months program, things like that, right? So if they're stalling for time, it's a matter of them addressing the fear of making the decision and not knowing how to make the right decision. So these are some of the common obstacles, right? So what are some of the tactics here, right? So you can see something like, oh, this is the worst case or the best case. The worst case, you learn and you benefit. The best case is you get to benefit something else. Does this sound good? Right? So sometimes people are afraid of making a decision, and telling them what's the worst case scenario, what's the best case scenario, it allows them to finally make that push cross. So it's a good tactic. But the worst case, I mean, what do you have to lose? The worst case is you spend X amount of money. The best case is you make 10x in return. All right. Then of course there's a very powerful assumptive close. One of my favorite closes, right, is, for example, we can say if we were to work together next week, we can go through your accounts, and next month we can start getting clients already. So it assumes that you're already working with them. It's one of the most sleek, classy way to close deals. Right. Of course, there's a summary close, which is a very safe go-to close for me as well, which is you just summarize what the prospect has said, and then you lead with a closing question, right? It's a very good way. Just summarize whatever they said, and then they get it right. So shall we move forward? And then you lead them into the close. Then of course there's the soft close, which is very important at the start of the conversation and the middle to lead up to the final close. So these are the small closes, like for example, oh, if we can reduce your turnover rate, attract better talent to the company, would you want to know more? And say yes. So then they do a mini commitment, a yes, and then the not. Then you're moving the deal down. So then, of course, there's a test drive close as well. So you build trust by inviting them for a free version, just like how, for example, you want to drive a Lamborghini, they'll let you, hey, go for a test drive. Then you can see whether you like the car or not. So would you like to try the product for 30 days and no cost? If you want to continue, you can buy our plans. Else, no obligation to continue. Sounds fair? Especially that last part, sounds fair. The fair, it will be a bit of a intonation up, right? And then there's objection close, things like you said something, oh Ahmad, is there any reason that's holding you back from signing today? So you ask them what is the reason that might stop them from buying. So you bring that objection forward and you address it head on, right? So for those who are really passionate about addressing it head on and you really want to cut to the chase, this is a great way to close. Of course, there's a scale close on a scale 1 to 10, one being let's end a convo, 10 being let's start on Monday. How likely are you to move forward? So these are some of the ways that you can not just close deals but also deal with objections. And in our buy-in academy, there are many other modules that I've uploaded. There are videos, there are courses here for you. Have you take a look over here on getting leads, on public speaking skills, sales and negotiation, lead generation. So I've recreated these resources so that at the end of the day, you can get to the goals that you want, and that is my aim. And if you're interested, you can just drop me a DM, and I'll send you the link to join our Buy-in Academy. Take care.